the South African Football Association held its ordinary congress at Emperor's Palace this past weekend. A lot was expected to be discussed there, with the association having held a sort of an informal media breakfast last week to sort of map out what will be some of the agenda points at the ordinary congress as well as the Indaba this past weekend. But there's no doubt that there is one piece of news that stole the headlines, and it was actually ahead of the Congress when the PSL announced that they will sit this one out. They will not be a part of that. We still don't know why, and I'm joined by the association's TD, the technical director at the South African Football Association, Mr. Walter Steenbok. Thank you so much for your time this morning. Thank you for joining us. In fact, let me start there. Do we know why the PSL missed the Congress?
Good morning, Benjamin, and also morning to all your viewers. First time here.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
First of many.
Yeah, wonderful studio. Yeah, I think you might have heard post the conference that the CEO had outlined that he will be sending a letter to the PSL. So we don't want to preempt what could be the reason for them not to attend, but they were expected to be there because major the decisions were to be discussed, there. So I think let's give it time for the CEO to write to them. I think he did write to them yesterday, okay. I assume, and then we'll get a response. So we don't really want to preempt what could have been the reason, but they were supposed to be there as associate members, to be part of the 2-day Indaba on Friday and Saturday, leading to the Congress on Sunday.
There's been a lot said, obviously, speculation around the PSL's attitude towards the Congress, because as the CEO said that it was sudden, it came after, interestingly, the comments that were made by you, the TD, by few other senior members, directors at the association, President Denny Jordan, CEO Motlanthe last week, Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken. And speculation is that some of the contents there might have raised the ire of the top league officials. Do you have that suspicion?
Not really, but it must be put in perspective that leading to a Congress, whether is it a political formation or is a church formation, various parties with interest, will articulate quite openly, some of the views that they want members to be able to address, So some of the things that we addressed in what you term the informal press conference that we have, is nothing sinister. It's us preparing the ground, to say these are the pertinent issues that we really want to address, for the sake of South African football. So it was, like I said, it was nothing sinister, but it was us saying, leading to the Congress, there are some fundamental issues that needed to be addressed. And for example, I picked up one on the CAF club licensing, which is a key regulation in football, which was passed in 2013. And if you check, if I may go a little bit deeper on that, if you check the CAF club licensing, it has various sectors that it's talking about: sporting, infrastructure, legal, administration, and others. I just chose sporting, because as a technical director, I've got a key interest as a main stakeholder in overseeing the development of football in South Africa. So the sporting or the technical one was very, very important to me. And that's why I highlighted it, that this is something that I want the Congress to discuss.
Yeah. The PSL was very clear that they would like audience with the CAF president, Patrice Motsepe, with the Minister of Sport. Can they do that? Can they bypass the association and go above to CAF, to the Minister of Sport? Do they have that right?
Like I say, it's for them to decide what they want to do. But remember, they are the associate members, and as a professional component within the association, you will have expected them to ventilate whatever they have first in our setup where all members are there. I mean, the Deaf Association was there. The University Sports was also there. So various what we call associate members were there. And if there are issues, I think they first need to be ventilated in our setup. Like I say, what we are proposing there is what an ordinary South African would be interested in, to say what are the key technical reforms, what are the key structural reforms that you want to have, trying to reboot the football landscape of South Africa.
All right, let's go then to the Congress itself, and we would have expected some of the resolutions. You spoke about them last week, and we expected some sort of a vote as to whether they'll be implemented come next season. And club licensing, as you said, was part of that. Where are we with that? Are we implementing some of those club licensing rules, so to speak, as of this coming season?
Look, Benjamin, what we did there was to workshop all the members, of the Congress on various issues, For example, I'll just make one example again. The Hollywood bet which is
the Women's League.
Women's League, yes. We are advocating that we need to have a 7-3-1. 7-3-1, let me just explain. 7-3-1 is that you need to have 7 local-based players and have 3 overseas, what can I say, overseas players, there. But one...
foreign players.
Foreign players, yes. But then one is that we are advocating that we need to have a local goalkeeper, because we have challenges in South Africa. I mean, Coach Desiree was also part of the Congress. She did also allude that we are struggling with quality goalkeepers, in women's football. So we're advocating for that 7-3-1. So 7 must be local.
In a starting lineup at any given point.
And at any given point.
We must have 7 locally or locally brewed players,
yes,
if I can put it like that.
Yes.
And then 3 foreign players,
yes,
and 1
goalkeeper.
South African
goalkeeper. Yes. So those are part of the reforms that needed to be discussed. But furthermore, also there's also a key reform about football academies in South Africa. We've got a lot of fly-by-night academies. We get lots of calls from parents and all of that, not knowing exactly as to whether is this academy accredited, what is the status of this. So also that was also discussed. And of course, I did also make some of the technical recommendations, on the professional league also. But again, ABC Motsepe League also in the local football association and also in schools. So this thing, like I say, it was cutting across. These are technical reforms that we have discussed. So the Congress is happy with that, but you must remember, the NEC in between Congress, they are the decision-making body. So we'll be meeting very, very soon to be able to make those discussions. But key for me during this critical Congress was for us to be able to workshop our members on some of the recommendations that you want to make, so that they can also have an input. And that's why the PSL also lost a very, very important opportunity for them to ventilate, some of the issues that they wanted.
Let's stay with women's football, because you've already touched on it. I'll go back to club licensing in a moment. Are we, or was it passed over the weekend that clubs must have a women's team, PSL clubs that is, must have a women's team or else? Because that's being flirted with by the association for a while. And I did pose that question to you last week, if it will be starting with the new season. What's the latest on that?
It was passed also there. And in fact, the recommendation is quite simple, is to say, when you are a professional outfit, either in the National First Division or the PSL, including in the ABC Motsepe League, you need to have a development program, that caters for under 15 boys and under 15 girls, So it was passed there. But again, let me go a little bit further. You'll remember that in the Intercontinental Club Championship there, you cannot participate if you also don't have a women's football team. So now, look at the PSL log now, where you have the second and the third and the 4th team on the log, who are most probably going to qualify for the CAF Confed and the CAF Champions League. None of them have a women's team. And this is a requirement from CAF. So like I say to you, Benjamin, this is not a sinister approach, but it's us realigning ourselves, rebooting, but again, doing something which is right. So I'm saying second, third, and fourth. None of those teams are going to be able to play in there.
So should Orlando Pirates or SuperSport United or Kaizer Chiefs qualify for the CAF Champions League, they will not be able to take part next season if they do not have a women's team. I know
exactly. I mean,
it's been said, it's been bandied about, but it has never really been put into in black and white. Let's
go back.
Law now.
Like I'm saying that. So this one is a CAF law. In our case, we have already proposed this in the Congress, that you need to have a development program that caters for boys and for girls. But like I said, I want to go a little bit further to say, already CAF, in their 2022 new regulations that they have passed, is that you cannot participate in the Intercontinental Championships if you don't have a women's team. But also remember, Royal AM already, they had to buy the status of Bloemfontein Celtic for them to be able to participate in the CAF Intercontinental. But I'm just saying to you that already the second, third, and fourth teams
they are in trouble.
They don't have that already. So that's why I'm saying that the PSL missed a very important opportunity for them to be part of this Congress, because these matters needed to be ventilated. But again, we need to realign ourselves to what CAF is asking. So it's the way it is.
I'm out of time, but I need to squeeze this in. What's going to happen in terms of club license? Let me go back to that. What's going to happen to coaches who don't have a particular coaching license and who coach in top flight of South African football? Are we still allowing that going into next season in terms of club licensing?
If the NEC between now and the end of this season agrees to the proposal that I've made, you cannot be a coach in the NFD without a CAF B, or what we used to call a level 1, and you cannot also be a coach in the professional in the PSL without a CAF A license, or what we call a level 2. So this, Benjamin, you need to understand, is also trying to reset the right standard, because you have seen players who have been playing 2 weeks back, suddenly he's an assistant coach in the professional league. That cannot happen, because if we do that, we are against the CAF club licensing that says that we need to make sure that the professional game is professional, and also transparency and standards are withheld. So this is, like I say, it's not a sinister rule. It's us trying to realign ourselves and doing what is right for South African football.
Walter Steenbok, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it. And I suppose a lot of coaches are going to be in trouble. A lot of clubs are going to be in hot water with the South African Football Association come next season if those resolutions are anything to go by.